you are not 1 in a million, you're not 1 in a billion, you are one of one. There will never be another you. Everything that exists has a gift. There is no recession that can stop your gift. There is no economic crisis that can stop your gift because it's yours.
How is it the listener can go about drawing the gift out of themselves and understanding more about what their gift and purpose is?
Yeah, no problem. So first thing is I look at it and I see the state of the world nowadays. Let's be honest, guys. It's not the most ideal world that we're living in. I personally believe that so many of those issues are down to the fact that people don't know who they are. Who you are is one of the most important things that you have to understand as a human being ever. One of those things where it's like identity is so important. And for many people, they have unfortunately been lied to about their identity.
Like, okay, people are lied to about their identity. How is it one finds their true identity?
Well, let me say it like this.
Do you know your gift? Do you know your purpose? Whether you do or you don't, today's episode is one you do not want to miss. Because Lordwin Anim is on a mission to make sure every single person on this earth, all 8.1 billion of us, understands our gift and our purpose. This is one that is going to leave you so pumped. Enjoy the episode. Hi guys, welcome to another episode of What My Best Friend Does, where we talk to best friends in the hope of inspiring you to take immediate action to find the career of your dreams. Today guys, I'm joined by my best friend, Lordwin Anim. Lordwin bro, how you doing?
I'm fantastic, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, bro. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate that.
My pleasure. We like to start with a little icebreaker. What did you want to be growing up, bro?
You know, funny enough, originally when I was maybe like 7, 8 years old, I'd first got to the UK and I wanted to be a carpenter.
Okay, like Jesus.
Okay. You know what the mad thing is, yeah? It wasn't actually that I wanted to be a carpenter because of Jesus. It's because our neighbours, basically our neighbours there, the father of our neighbours, he was always building stuff, and he had like a shed and he was always building stuff, and they always used to have so many toys. Okay. So I thought, yo, carpentry must get you bare money. Yeah. I want to do that. Okay. You know, and like when it came to bonfire night and stuff like that, they had so many fireworks, like hundreds of fireworks. Yeah. They were smashing it off the whole time. So I thought, hey, man, I want to do this. I want to get some money to buy some toys. But, you know, I guess that wasn't really where the money was coming from. So,
okay. So yeah, man. All right, you wanted to be a carpenter. Like, knowing you, I know that you've kind of had a career where you've been in tech and you're now studying to become a teacher and you've done public speaking. Let's take it back. Can you run us through your career to this point and touch upon some of the highlights?
Okay. So I guess jumping off of where I wanted to be a carpenter. For much of my life, I've always been looking for, you know, meaning and purpose and soul and all of those sorts of things. Like, what's this life about? Because I mean, I guess sometimes because of the hustle and bustle of life, especially living in London, things move quickly. So sometimes you don't even take the time to sit and think like, why am I actually doing all of this? Like, besides paying for a house, paying for family and paying for a car and food and stuff, why am I actually doing this? You know? And I guess I started to have those sorts of thoughts a lot earlier because I was always the why kid out of my family. I was always the one that was asking questions. Still till now, I still ask a lot of questions. But I guess that got on people's nerves. But it helped me. It's helped me down the line. But I would always ask why. And initially, I wanted to become a lawyer after deciding that
after carpentry.
After carpentry, I wanted to be a lawyer because I realized, you know, I talk a lot. You know, I like to argue with people, this and that, and all of that kind of stuff. So I was pursuing those sorts of things. I was doing things like history, in GCSE and stuff like that. I was doing IT because I still love tech anyways. I like computers. But once I got to sixth form, I actually had to ask myself, like, Lord, why do you actually want to be a lawyer? And I came up with 4 answers.
Suits.
One,
because of suits.
I said, Micros. But nah. I didn't even watch Suits up at that point, you know. I think I was still watching Prison Break at the time. But nah, so I came up with 4 answers. And it was that it makes a lot of money. my parents would be proud of me. It's high status in society or something like that, and people would think good stuff of me. When I thought of those answers, I thought, bro, that's not really a good reason to get this job, is it? You know, and of course, yeah, making a lot of money is good, and making your parents proud is nice, but from a long time, I knew that would not be fulfilling to me, because I'll be honest, I've been a kind of strange kid. I've just always been the kind of inquisitive person. Like, my name is Lordwin, so from a long time, I would think to myself, I'm still waiting to find someone who has my name. Maybe I can see what they're like. Maybe all Lordwins are supposed to be like this, but I guess I can't. So maybe I just gonna have to be the me that I am.
Hey, that's perfect.
Exactly.
Unique
and
great.
I remember when I was in year 8, there was a book that I was reading called How to Find Your Purpose in 10 Days. And like later down the line, I would think back, like, why am I a 12-year-old reading this book? Why am I so desperately trying to find my purpose? Why I'm here? But it's something that's important that you need to find out. I guess we'll go a little bit more into that later. But yeah, down the line, decided that since being a lawyer, it's not really a good enough reason. I don't have a good enough reason why I want to do that. Let me pursue something that I like. So I realized I like technology. I really love that. So I decided to go more into IT. Sixth form, I picked IT, sociology, English, and stuff like that, because, of course, I still like to talk. And then from there, I decided to pick computer science at university.
Okay.
In the meantime, whilst I was doing all of that schooling, I was working jobs from about 16, working in a women's shoe store. That was my first job. And even that came with a realization as well. On top of the whole lawyer stuff, when I was working in that job in the women's shoe store, it was my first job, and I was graced to be given that job. I went to the guy at the store, gave him my CV. He said, yeah, I'll give you a chance. I started working, and within about a week, I realized, as in, I'm making good money for my age, you know, or at least for a 16-year-old back in, like 10 plus years ago. I was making good money. I was getting the cash in hand, so the notes are bears. You know, you're getting bare notes, so you feel it. And, you know, I looked at it and I thought, this isn't enough of a motivation for me to work a job like this. Like, I need more from this. Not money, but I need something. There was always something in me that was like, nah, there's more to life than this. So as I was going through that, I mean, I left and I went to do NCS, which was like a camp sort of thing during the summer. But during sixth form, I came across some mentorship from a lady called Yvonne Eber. She runs a organization called Life Creations. Shout out to Life Creation, she's amazing. But yeah, so she began to mentor me and gave me so many opportunities that I otherwise wouldn't have gotten, such as things like hosting a radio show, doing workshops, just being in the vicinity of a CEO and working with the people that she was working with and that she had connections with. And it was such a blessing, and it opened my mind so much more. You know, so the inquisitive me that was already there was now being bolstered by someone about 10-ish years older than me, who already could see much further than I did and was opening my eyes to those things and exposing me to those things. And it made me really realize, yeah, life really is more than what I was thinking at first. So as I was doing that, went to university, did computer science, was doing a few jobs here and there, and then boom, I come out of university, finished that, and I said to myself, I'm going to work the first job I can get my hands on, because I realized, cool, I'm out of university, I've had my fun, I've learned all of these things whilst at university and in sixth form and in secondary school. It's time to take action, get to it straight away. Yeah. Take a wild guess as to what the first job was that I got out of university.
Men's shoe store.
Men's shoes. I see where you're coming from.
No, I'm joking.
Nah,
what was it?
I was actually a delivery driver at Just Eat.
Okay.
Yeah. So I came from uni July, like literally near end of July, August the 5th, 2021. Boom. I'm starting my delivery driving job at Just Eat.
Wow.
I said, cool. The reasons I gave myself to do that, I said, cool. I haven't really done no grad job searching and stuff like that before uni finished, but I thought, cool. I'll get paid, of course. I'll get some money. I get paid to ride a bike, so I'm doing exercise. And of course, whilst I'm doing that, I'm able to hone some certain skills.
Also, you get flexibility with your time, right? Because
so much
flexibility. You basically get paid on the deliveries you do, and if you don't deliver, you don't get paid.
You know what the funny thing is? With Just Eat, it was a little bit different at the time.
Okay.
They paid you by the hour. So whether you made 0 deliveries or not, you were getting paid. But of course, there were still incentives and stuff like that. The more you delivered, the more bonus you would get. But Just Eat, out of the big 3, like Just Eat, Delivery, and Uber Eats, they were the ones that were doing that. I don't know if they do it anymore.
Can I just take a moment to say, did somebody say
Just eat?
Okay. I just had to do that because it's going in my mind. I needed to release
that.
Okay.
I can't drop that like that. Nah, you're funny.
All right, so you're at Just Eat, you're doing that, and then what comes next, bro?
Cool. So I'm at Just Eat, and at this point in my life, I'm telling myself, Lordwin, you need to begin to really make something of yourself, regardless of where you are, because the environment you're in is not as important as the person you are inside. It can influence the person you are inside, but who you are inside, you can also decide that through the things you read, the things you communicate with, and certain other internal environments that you create for yourself through other stimuli and things like that, like books and people and all of that kind of stuff. So I said,
so sorry, just coming back as well. So you do computer science at university. When you're in university, like, did you have an idea as to what you wanted to do? Because obviously you've taken this Just Eat job. At that point, do you want to get into like a technical role? Do you want to be an engineer? Like, I understand that you want to get money straight away, but had there been any like thought of a longer term career at that point as you're getting towards the end of university?
Okay, so we're really getting to the crux of this. So let's just say it like this. I was enjoying university. Don't worry, we're gonna get back to the Just Eat part. But let me make this as quick as possible. I was enjoying university all throughout this and that, and March 2018, I came to a point where I realized, like, I'm just doing too much. You know, I'm enjoying myself and all of this kind of stuff, but it is not fulfilling. It's not hitting the things in my life that I need it to hit. I don't. There's certain things in my life that I desire, that I have a vision towards, and it's not hitting it. So I decided to take my faith more seriously, decided to begin to focus on life and all of those sorts of things. So I started to actually sit down, chill, and learn a bit more. It was March the 1st, 2019. I called my family over to my accommodation in university, because I was in Birmingham at the time. And what we usually do like yearly family meetings, like at the beginning of the year. So I asked them, can you please come to Birmingham? We can do our family meeting there. And in that family meeting, I basically had made a presentation, of my entire vision for my life, pretty much. So I have pretty much 7 goals that I have for my life. So certain things that I want to do, such as doing this in public speaking, doing that, doing this. I'm not going to say too much on the podcast, but you'll see it when it's coming out. But I had 7 visions for my life, and certain things that I was going to start doing straight away. One of them was to start a business, because I saw a gap in the market. It was called the Uses Box, which stands for University Students Essential Supply Box. So it was effectively providing uni students with essentials for their academic and their living essentials. Yeah. All of those sorts of things. So my family supported me. This was all good and stuff. And from then, I had a goal in my mind where it's like, cool, I've been thinking about all of these things, learning about all of these things over the years. Now I've begun to consolidate them into some sort of vision of, this is where I want to take my life to. These are the things that I've seen that I'm good at, and I want to start to bring them into this part, because I'd been learning about gifts and talents and stuff like that for a while, but it was just a case of, where do I want to take all of this? You know, I wanted to be a lawyer at one point, but maybe that's because I wanted to speak with people. I wanted to be a carpenter at one point. Of course, I was thinking because maybe my neighbor, but maybe that's because I wanted to build something that would last, you know, and all of those sorts of things. Maybe I had those desires, but I didn't see the reason that those desires were in me initially, and I maybe had misunderstood or misconstrued those desires initially. But yeah, came up with this vision for my life and what it is I wanted to do. Started saying, cool, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to put this content together, all of those sorts of things. So as I was coming out of university, I knew that there were certain things I wanted to accomplish, but I didn't know exactly how I was going to go for it. But I said to myself, you know what? kind of go with the flow, but also be targeted when you go with the flow. So go for whatever job you can find, but when you find it, find a way to make what you want to happen in that job happen. So how did that work in Just Eat? Because of course I've finished my computer science degree, but I still have the whole vision in the back of my mind and the whole tech in the back of my mind. Like, what do I want to do with technology? Because I'd love to work in a tech firm anyway. So I'm working at Just Eat, and within about 2-3 weeks, I get promoted from a courier to a courier captain, because I started to look at my life and my whole career as this is all problem solving. All of business is finding a problem and solving it. And there was pretty much like a little crisis in the Just Eat warehouse on one day, where basically nobody could find any bike locks. But I had remembered from a couple of weeks ago that people would put their bike locks in their bags. You know, the big box orange bags, that they would put it in the side of their bags and leave it there and forget to put it back out in the boxes where the bike locks were supposed to be when they'd actually finished their trip. So I called one of my friends and we ran to the bike, to the actual bags, and started taking out so many locks. And then everybody started following and doing the same. And one of the managers there saw, okay, this guy is a problem solver. This guy thinks, critically thinks on his feet and stuff like that. So he said, cool, let me speak to you after you finish your job. Spoke to him after. He said, cool, I want to make you a courier captain, this and that. All of that stuff happened. I was happy because I was thinking to myself, cool, this thinking of how you can solve people's problems is very profitable. Just solving one problem got me promoted in the job straight away. So I knew, cool, this is something that works, because it works in business, it works in life, it always works. So yeah, I was doing that, and then lo and behold, I actually got an opportunity once I became a courier captain to begin to induct other couriers. So people who came to do delivery driving at Just Eat, now I was training them and testing them. And the training required a lot of public speaking, because you would have maybe 10 or 20 people coming to do a test to see if they could actually ride a bike or ride a moped. And then you would have to spend about an hour teaching them the system of Just Eat, the uniform, all of those kind of things. And then I realized, this is great for public speaking, because now I have to structure everything I say. I have to teach it to them in a way, because if I don't teach them properly, they could get hurt on the road. So now the way I teach them is also going to affect the way they perform. So I need to make sure I do it properly. So I began to see as this is genuinely a mission that I have to accomplish properly. And I was doing these inductions about 3 to 4 times a day, every single day when I was going in. Now, as I was doing that, I was still applying for 1-2 jobs over there. I had actually only applied for 2 jobs during that time. This was from August 2021 to about December 2021, when I was just applying, because I was working hard at Just Eat, and I said, cool, let me apply for a job that I believe I'm gonna get. So I applied for one at Computer Center. I'd never heard of the company, but computer centers must be tech. So I applied there, and then they said, let's do a video interview, this and that. So the video interview, like, you have to record yourself doing the interview. But I flopped that interview, man, because you know why, yeah?
Why?
The thing about the system is wicked. You only get one chance.
It's true.
There's no retakes. So this is the thing. I was recording, saying the stuff, answering the questions. And then I read something in the question that made me think of something. And I bust up laughing. I was done. I was crying. I said, nah. In my head, I'm thinking, Lordwin, you're not going to get the job now. You flopped it because you can't retake this. It's still recording. I'm looking at there's only a continue and submit button. I said, there's no way. So I said, you know what? I finished it. I said, just submit it. Done. I submitted it. I knew to myself, Lord, yeah, you ain't gonna get this job, man. It's done. I was laughing in the camera. I was thinking I was laughing in their faces. And that's the thing. Sometimes these things happen in life. But I realized, cool, that's happened. And then another job came, Microsoft. I saw it on LinkedIn while I was on LinkedIn. And then boom, applied to that. And then lo and behold, while I'm riding a bike at Just Eat, they tell me, yeah, you got interview, this and that. I do the interview, go in for the interview day, do that. And then boom, they call me when I was doing another job at Just Eat a couple of weeks later, and they said, you got the job. I was excited. Boom, go to Microsoft. And that's how I got to Microsoft.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
and when you get to Microsoft, what is it you're doing?
Then I started as a part-time customer advisor. Mm-hmm. So just 3 days a week, I was just selling devices. That's all I was doing. But I knew to myself, Lordwin, just get your foot in the door. You know, when you're starting something that in your mind is great and is huge, you start from small. Every tree starts from a seed. So you don't have to be upset that when you start from day one, it's small. People that go to the gym, their progress is small from the beginning. If you're huge, you're not going to be instantly slim on day 2.
Yeah.
If you're skinny, you're not instantly going to be ripped on day 2. You know, it's got to start from somewhere small. So I said, cool, Lordwin, just get your foot in the door and see where you can go from there.
So how long is it that you end up being at Microsoft for?
I was there for basically 3 years, about 2 years and 10 months.
Okay.
And from there, I was working there for about a year part-time before I'd got a full-time contract. Pretty much as soon as I got a full-time contract, different opportunities started coming to me. So they reopened something called the community theatre, where they would bring in schools to do workshops. I said, Lord, this is your chance, man. This is your chance. Workshops, my guy. Because I was thinking, cool, I've been doing workshops for years with Life Creations when I was in sixth form. I've got expertise in this. I know what this is about. And not only that, they were doing workshops for LinkedIn. I said, yeah, okay, this is somehow stuff is just starting to fit in well. I said, cool, no problem. So I said, cool. I said, yeah, I put my hand up. Let me take this opportunity. I want to do this. So they gave me an opportunity, gave us the presentations and stuff like that of the decks of what you should be saying. And I said, cool, can I amend this? Can I make this like a little bit myself? They said, yeah, of course. So I made it look in a way where I could not just tell them about LinkedIn and how to improve your professional profile, but looking at yourself as well. So I started doing a lot of motivational sorts of I am unique, I am gifted, I am valuable sorts of statements at the beginning to help people to understand that, listen, you are not just a person who works a job. You are a human being with a very unique thing about you, a unique code, unique fingerprint, almost like a serial number on the phone. 100%. You are extremely unique and you are here for a reason. You were born at the time you were born for a specific reason. You have certain gifts, certain treasures inside of you that are going to be useful for whatever it is you're supposed to be doing. And that's what makes you valuable. But until you discover that and until you begin to use that, you're not going to be as effective as you have the potential to be. Yeah. So as I'm telling them that and I'm putting that into the presentation, I'm now linking that back to the fact that, cool, as you're discovering this, use this in finding and excelling in your career. Because it's in your career where you're working with a business where you can now solve people's problems. Or you can decide to start your own business where you're also solving people's problems. This entire podcast is solving certain people's problems because it's inspiring people in a certain way.
I hope so, yeah.
I'm sure the kind of people you've already had on here are already inspirational. And I'm sure the people that you have in the future are going to be even more inspirational.
That's the plan.
You see? So I was working on it like that and thinking, cool. How can I help these people? Because I've had this issue in my life for a long time where I was always wondering, what am I existing for? What am I here for? What am I doing? What's my purpose? What are my gifts? What is this human experience about that we only seem to get one time and we never get it again? You know, who did this? You have those questions that you actually have to sometimes take time and sit by yourself and ask yourself, what is all this about? And knowing that I have these issues, I am a human being just like all the 8.1 billion people on this planet. And I know I'm not the only one that has these questions. Yeah. So I'm sure there are other people that have those questions that are just not vocalizing the fact that they have those questions. So let me answer it for you before you even start asking the questions so you can begin to get a head start on making that discovery. Mm-hmm. So I was doing that a lot. One of my managers then gave me an opportunity to do it for another group, basically an external group, because the training team in Microsoft wasn't available that day. So he gave me the opportunity. And that's sometimes, that's a lesson to everybody that's listening as well. Sometimes your opportunity comes not because they picked you first, but because they picked you second. Don't get offended. Take the opportunity because that might be the time when you begin to shine. So many football stars, they were second or they were on the bench, or sports stars that were on the bench that were in substitution. The second the main man got injured, it was their time to shine. But prepare for that moment because it could come at any time.
100%. And do you know, I think from speaking to people on this podcast as well, people talk about like luck. And from everybody who I've spoken to on this podcast and even in my personal life, I realized that luck really is opportunity meets preparation, because it's like, it's one thing to be asked to do it because somebody else, you know, isn't available or that training team isn't available. But because you've been doing the stuff internally, because you've had this vision, because you've done the training with Just Eat, everything prepares you for that moment. So what appears as luck is actually you taking the opportunity with all of the preparation you've done in the months and years previously.
Exactly. And that's the thing. It's only when you see it like that, that's when you actually begin to act on it. Yeah. Because much of life is just perspective.
100%.
Like, think about it like this. When people are in school, and some of them are thinking, yeah, I want to get into Oxford, I want to get into Cambridge, I want to get into an amazing university, and they end up getting into the university, do we look at them and say, no, that was luck? No. They decided to prepare to go to a university like that by studying the requirements and meeting those requirements. And when the opportunity came for them to be able to go there, i.e. they were in sixth form and UCAS time came up and the interview times, they took that opportunity because they had prepared. So the second that opportunity came up, they met preparation and boom, they hopefully get their offer and they're in that university and they begin to do what it is they want to do. Nobody calls that luck. But in other endeavors of life where the principle is practically the same, we do call it luck. The only reason it seems like people call it luck is because they don't see the timeline of the opportunity arriving.
Exactly.
And it's like, that doesn't make sense. The opportunity is going, like the day of your exposure is going to come. I think, so I forgot who said it. It said, if you're prepared, it's revealing. But if you're unprepared, it's exposure. It's like, it's almost like you're naked. Like, I wasn't prepared, you know. But when you're prepared, it's like, yeah, I'm here.
Yeah.
You know, so it's one of those things. And like that situation with the whole doing the workshops at Microsoft and all of that, it was amazing because I was graced to be able to give that LinkedIn workshop online for a company called Generation. They do like jobs and skills hubs for people who are unemployed or trying to get into work. And they thought my presentation was amazing. So the woman there said, we want to book you for more. I said, yeah, absolutely no problem. So started doing work with companies like the Princess Trust, Salesforce, was doing workshops in City Hall and stuff like that.
So yeah, you start doing work with all of these different companies, and is that through the Microsoft umbrella, or these people are booking you separately from Microsoft?
So I got these opportunities, did the workshop with the Generation company, and they found me super amazing. And they said, cool, we want to book you for more. So cool. So I started doing work with people like Generation. They were bringing me to people like Salesforce, the Princess Trust. They're doing workshops in City Hall and stuff like that. And that, of course, the initial workshop was because, of course, I was working at Microsoft. But after that, because they're an external company, they just said, you know, let's just come to you.
Cut out the middle, man.
Just come to you because we like you, you know. And I said, hey, fair enough. I'll take it, you know. And that's the thing. My manager, who originally gave me the opportunity, he was cool with it because he knew to himself that, cool, if Lordwin doesn't take it, they're probably going to give it to people who are only doing it because it's their job, not because it's something that they desire to do with their life. And I said, you know, I appreciate you for that. You know, so I was doing that a lot. And yeah, man, it's been absolutely amazing. I've got so many different opportunities for that. And all that I was thinking in my mind was, this is not the big break for me. All of this is training. But all of this is training in a sense where, of course, you may make mistakes in the presentation sometimes. It might not be the perfect one, but each time, do it as good as you can. Because I remember Will Smith saying this years back. He said,
"Get my wife's name out your mouth." Is that what he said? No, I'm joking. Sorry.
Get your wife's name. No.
Get my mother's name
days.
out your mother's mouth. No, I'm joking. Sorry, continue.
Nah, you're too funny.
I've totally flopped your flow there.
No.
Will Smith.
Nah, you're all good. You're all good, man. Bro, you're just jokes, man. I'm telling you. But now, Will Smith was saying, years ago, I remember I used to watch like motivational videos and stuff like that, especially of Steve Jobs, Will Smith, and those kind of people. And Will Smith said, when you're aiming to build a house, you don't start with building the entire house. He says the best way to do it is you lay one brick as perfectly as a brick can be laid. And then once you've done that, you lay the next brick as perfectly as it can be laid. And the next brick as perfectly as it can be laid. And eventually, you'll have a house. And I thought about that. I said, that makes sense. You know what? The only thing I have control over is the way I respond to things and the way I, react to things and what I do effectively. I only have control over my choices. They say that 10% of life happens to you and 90% is how you respond. So what I can do in the moment is do this presentation as best as I can, do this workshop as best as I can. I can't control what happens in the future necessarily, but I can create my future by what I do here. So make sure what you do here is as great as possible. So every single workshop that I'm doing, I'm training and basically training and making sure that, cool, take all the lessons you've learned from the past, all the times you were on the radio show at Live Creations, take that, all the times you were speaking to the school when you were head boy in sixth form, do that, all the times when you were talking to your parents and you had to formulate and articulate your words because they wouldn't let you speak, all of this kind of stuff. Take all of those lessons because everything is a lesson. I guess let me detour really quickly. I'm the youngest of 3 boys. So in an African household, there's the hierarchy.
Oh my God.
And like I'm a Ghanaian, and from what I've heard from many other Ghanaians is that usually the last boy is the favored one, is the baby boy, But for me, the dynamic seemed to have been flipped on its head. For me, at least from my perspective, it was like I'm supposed to do better than everybody because I have everybody to look up to. And as I'm supposed to apparently do better than everybody and I'm looking up to everybody, I'm also trying to ask questions like, how can I do this? How can I do that? But I guess because of childlike emotions and stuff like that, I'm not always articulating myself in the best way. So sometimes I'm being very rude. Yeah, I was a bit of a rude kid. But there were times when, of course, my parents would be talking to me and I'm talking back. And in my head, I'm thinking, I actually have to talk properly. Because anytime I start riling up, everything I say is negated. Because they always used to tell me, Lord, it's not about what you say, it's how you say it. And I started to realize, so speaking, the way you speak is actually very important because we are the only living creatures on the planet that have the ability to use words that come out of our mouth. Of course, someone might say parrots as well, but they just copy ours. You get me? So they're not creating the words. They're just mimicking what they hear. But we're the only ones that can use words. And I started to realize this is something very special that we have in our arsenal as human beings. We have words, and those words can create realities, And so looking at all of those lessons, I said, cool, with every single thing that you learn, do the best workshops you can because you are standing in front of masses of people and you have been given the opportunity, the privilege to be able to speak something to them. And if you understand the gravity of your words, you have the ability to inspire them to make a change in their lives, or you have the ability to dampen whatever is within them by speaking to them.
So on that brings us nicely up to today. So in terms of, what it is you do, would you say that you're a public speaker then now? So you've left Microsoft and these workshops you're delivering, what is it you're delivering the workshops on?
Okay, so I have 2 workshops that I deliver pretty much. So one of them is on personal development, one of them is on professional development. The personal development one is called The Treasure Inside of You. That's basically, the premise of it is you have a gift inside of you, you have a treasure inside of you. Let me help you to understand what it is, how you can develop it, and how you can deploy yourself in that gift.
Let's double click into that. How is it that you help people to understand the gift that they have inside of them?
So, first thing is understanding that you even have one. As a matter of fact, even before that, a prerequisite is to understand that you are a human being. I get it. Science says we are mammals. I'm not taking that one. There's something about us that them man just can't do. Yeah. You're a human being. You are the apex of all creation. There is something about you as a human being that is completely separate from every other living thing that's on this planet. Everything that isn't a plant or a tree or an animal or water or something like that was not here until we got here. The chairs, the mics, the lights, the clothes on our backs, the shoes on our feet, even the flooring wasn't there until we got here, until we decided to put certain things together and make it happen. No other animal is capable of something even close to that. Yes, beavers build dams or whatever. Bro, that's the best they can do. Because an animal is what it is, but a human can decide who they want to be. And this is the thing, is when you begin to understand that you as a human being, you were created for more, then I can begin to help you to understand that, cool, you are super unique. Out of the 8.1 billion people that exist on the planet today, there's not a single one that's exactly like you.
100%.
Not one that thinks like you, not one that looks exactly like you, not one that has the exact same family dynamic, experience, gifts, thoughts, likes and dislikes as you. Not a single one. And then to go a step even further, science has estimated that about 100 to 200 billion people have ever existed on the planet. And yet not a single one of them is exactly like you. So what does that say about you? You are not 1 in a million. You're not 1 in a billion. You are one of one. There will never be another you. There will never be another you. There will never be another you. There will never be another me. So what are you going to do with that information? Now, when you see that you are unique and you begin to accept that, now it gets into a stage of, cool, you have a gift. How do I know you have a gift? Because everything else has a gift. Everything that exists has a gift. I have a gift, you have a gift, this mic has a gift. What is the thing that this mic is used for? We speak into it and it transports the sound into something else. It transports it either into the system over there so that we can hear it properly, or it amplifies it if it's plugged into an amp so that you can hear it properly. What's the purpose of the lights? To shine light here.
Make us look good.
Exactly. Exactly. So every single thing has a gift, and it comes with certain properties to allow it to serve that gift, because its gift is connected to its purpose. You get me? The shoes that you have on, the purpose of it is to protect your feet and to help you walk comfortably. So it's made of a material that is soft, but it's also made of a material that is sturdy so that it can keep your feet protected whilst it's also keeping it comfortable. That is a gift that is provided to the shoe to allow it to accomplish its purpose properly. Now, if we can do that and give purposes and gifts to items that we create, who's to say that we ourselves, who couldn't create ourselves, do not have gifts or a purpose? Couldn't be. We can create inanimate objects that have a gift and a purpose, but us that are living, breathing human beings don't have a purpose or a gift. I can't believe no scientist that says that. I can't believe no person that says that. The proof is in the pudding. The proof is in your face. So with that understanding, I begin to help people to understand that, cool, this is something that you have in you, but you have to discover it because it's within you. You get me? Like the things that are within you that are special, they are not hidden away, far away or anything like that. They are in you.
And to the listener, as they're hearing you talk about that, to those who are still doubting you, how is it the listener can go about drawing the gift out of themselves and understanding more about what their gift and purpose is? Yeah,
no problem. So first thing is you begin to ask yourself some questions. And I can talk about these questions and stuff like that all over the podcast, but I know that that's a problem that needs to be solved. So I've already worked on something. I've created a document called the Gift Discovery Questionnaire. Pardon me. And that pretty much asks you 20 questions about yourself. Take some time, you sit down, you write the answers to those questions. And that begins to form and give you a pattern of what your gift may be. But if you want to make it simpler, this is what your gift is. Your gift is the thing that you do at a great level with little to no effort, or the thing that you do that you find easy but other people find it difficult. You get me? I began to realize that my gift is around my voice and speaking, and I realized that one of the things that I do a lot, and I seem to do it very easily, is give analogies. Like anytime I see something, I instantly begin to think, oh, how does this relate to that part of life and all of that kind of stuff. Like the entire thing about gifts, I began to learn from people that I was watching on videos and stuff like that. And I realized even this tree that's here, this tree didn't exist as a tree. It existed as a seed. But the capacity for a tree has always been inside that seed. And that's the same for yourself, is that whatever is within you is within you. Is when you start to come out of yourself, that's when it begins to come out of you. Because think about it. A plant has to come out of the seed, then it turns into a tree. And once it's turned into a tree, then you begin to get the gift, the fruits. You know, it's like, but sometimes we forget that we have to grow first.
And no, I love that analogy. So to the listener, what is it they can do to grow?
What is it that they can do to grow?
So we take the questionnaire, we understand what is it? Is it reading books? Is it going to events? Is it exposing themselves to different experiences? I'm just trying to think, like, what would the tangible takeaway to the listener be so they can go
no problem.
And like help the seed sprout.
I like that, help the seed sprout. So just like a plant, if you want the plant to grow, you have to follow the principles of growing any sort of plant. You have to first put it in the right environment, which is good soil. Secondly, you have to water it, so you have to give it good nutrients. That one I think is kind of common for everybody. Keep your body healthy and clean, because this body, your vessel, I mean, if you're in bad health, you ain't gonna be able to do much. There's people with billions who can't get out of the hospital bed because their body's failed on them. So keep your body healthy. And thirdly, sunlight. Keep that plant in sunlight. That one is the knowledge and the information that's going to help you in your gift. Now, what does that look like for us practically? Once you've discovered what your gift is, begin to find what it is that will train that gift. For myself, I realized that when it comes to speaking and being a public speaker and all of those things, I have to train in everything that helps me to be a better public speaker. The way I articulate, the way I address my audience, teaching, all of that kind of stuff. That's even part of the reason why I left Microsoft to become a teacher, because I realized to myself, I need to actually train to do this properly. If I'm going to decide that I want to be a person who inspires people to look within themselves and discover more about their identity and their gifts, I need to be able to articulate this properly. And I don't just need to be able to articulate this properly, I need to be able to convey this message from different angles so that different people can understand it. Because just because you explain something in one way and it makes sense to one group of people doesn't mean it's going to make sense to another group of people. There are some people who will understand a lot of slang, but there are other people who don't understand that slang and they have to hear it from a different angle. So I realized that teaching is going to help me to be able to actually train my brain and my articulation to be able to explain one concept to many different people. Because I'm going to be in a class full of 30 kids that all come from different backgrounds. You know, like this is the thing. I remember one of my classes, there's a girl in there, of course I'm not going to say her name, that's child protection. But yeah, there's a little girl in there, and I remember the first lesson that she came in, she handed me a lanyard, and it had like a little phone on it. She said, "That's for my hearing aid, sir." And I said, "Oh." Like I'd never seen this before. I think, why are you giving me your phone? You know, but she said, put it on. So I put it on, and she turned her hearing aid to like a different setting. So as I'm speaking to the whole class, she can hear me perfectly fine. Wow. And then she started telling me a little bit about her story of how she's been born with that and all of this kind of stuff. And I realized, wow, there are some really brave and strong but different people out there that I haven't met before. So if I'm going to explain a concept to them, take away from a gift, if I'm going to explain something about how to work a computer, because I'm teaching computing in school, if I'm going to be teaching a concept like that, I'm going to have to explain it from different angles, because different kids have different backgrounds, different environments, and different understandings of these concepts. And that in turn is also going to help me become a person who can teach people better about their identity. Because everybody's identity is different and their understanding of their identity is different because they come from different places. Mm-hmm. But the principles of identity are all the same. So you're just going to need to have to explain that coming from another person's perspective. Because we don't come from the same place. We may have not necessarily grown up in the same place, but we are still both human beings. So even though we are different, we have certain similarities. So there's ways in which I'm going to have to explain it. I'm going to have to look at it like, cool, let me understand this person so that when it comes to helping them, I can explain these things properly. So those are all of the things that go up in my head. So when it comes to giftings and how you can grow in that gift and make the plant sprout, once you've discovered your gift, you want to look at, where is it that I can train this the best? Mm-hmm. Where are the best places that I can train this? I'll give you an example. Tiger Woods. His father discovered that he was amazing at golfing at like 2 years old. Lucky for him. You know, I wish I had that one. But, you know, I guess everybody's journey is different. But the second his dad discovered that, he started buying him golfing stuff. He started buying him golf clubs, golf carts, all of this kind of stuff, so that he could begin to train in that sort of environment. Taking him to the golf course, all of this kind of stuff. He started putting him in that environment and letting him grow there. So you always have to ask yourself, what environment am I in? Same for Lewis Hamilton. His dad was getting him all of the racing car stuff. I get it. F1 and learning for F1 is expensive. Yeah. I hear them little cars are pricey. So if you're a person coming from a working class family, it might not be that thing. But I think it was Michael Schumacher. I might be wrong about the person, but one of the famous F1 drivers, I think it's them or their father would build the cars themselves. Where there's a will, there's a way, you know. But yeah, so you have to put yourself in the environments that are going to help you grow the most. That's the good soil. The second one is, of course, keeping your body healthy, because if you want to be living your dreams for a long enough time, if you ain't got no body, you ain't got no dreams to be living. So there's that one. I got to work on that myself. But yeah, and then third one is the knowledge. So you want to make sure that you are constantly learning about how to get better at your craft. I'm sure Usain Bolt, we know him for being the fastest man alive. Unless you're a comic book fan, in which you probably think is Barry Allen. That's the fastest man alive. But yeah, so Usain Bolt is the fastest human being on the planet at the moment, 9.58, 100 meters. But he spent about 15 to 20 years training to do them Olympics. You get what I'm trying to say? And that required him being in the right environment, keeping his body healthy, but also learning or being coached about the principles, the tactics, and certain techniques of sprinting like the fastest person. And of course, that can be being in the presence of a coach. Because I'm sure he was being trained by a coach. He probably just wasn't doing all of this by himself. Even if the coach isn't as fast as him, the coach would have known the techniques that could help him become faster. And then, of course, he coupled that with his gift and all of those kind of things that would have helped. So, environment, healthy eating and keeping your body healthy, and being coached and getting the right information that's going to help you in that. That's going to help you grow to become the kind of person that can release your gift. And the beautiful thing about being able to grow and release your gift is that you can never ever be fired from that. There is no recession that can stop your gift. There is no economic crisis that can stop your gift because it's yours. You get me? If an apple tree grows apples, when COVID happened, did the apple tree say, yo, there's a pandemic, I must stop growing? Nah, it kept producing its gift. You get me? 2008, when the housing market crashed, no plant said, I'm going to stop growing. They said, I'm going to keep producing my gift. You know, you're the same. Once you establish your gift, you have an unlimited source of problem-solving capabilities. And of course, problem-solving can come with a lot of money, which is, of course, good for everybody. But, you know, so that all now depends on how you want to take that. You can turn what your gift is into a business. You can just turn it into a craft, whatever it is you want to do. Some people are amazing artists and they just love to draw and they put it on social media and stuff like that and they love it. Some of them, they put it on Instagram and they be getting brand deals and all of that kind of stuff. They be getting millions of views and stuff like that, and they be getting stuff off of their posts. You can do all of that kind of stuff. But when it comes to the business, that one you can get very creative. That one is, I can't tell you what to do. I can help you, but I can't tell you what to do.
And also with that, like, it doesn't necessarily, because a lot of what you said there is like entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
You can also use your gift at a business, right? So you can use your gift to find a career and find maybe a job that is aligned with things where your gift shines and where your gift is watered. So I think to the listener, as you're listening to this, if you follow those steps, don't think, oh my God, I must start a business. You just need to find work that aligns with your gifts, and that might be working for somebody else. So that was like the personal side. You said you also do some professional development as well with regards to workshops. So can we hear a little bit about that?
You are a master of linking stuff, you know, because that's exactly basically what I'm helping people with now. So what it is that some people want to take their gift or their skills and whatever and turn it into a business straight away. Fantastic. Start a business. Help the world out. Solve somebody's problem and make some money from it. Feed your family. That's great. But if you're not ready to start a business, or you don't know what business to start, or you're just thinking to yourself, I don't want to start something that has no guaranteed money because I've got a family to feed, look at your gift and find out what problem it can solve, and then look for a career or a job that needs that problem solved. That's where you can align. Because this is the thing about it, is that, you know, you have the capability of solving those problems. But if you don't see what's inside of you, then you're not going to be able to solve that problem most effectively. Play to your strengths at the end of the day. But yeah, what I'm helping people with at the moment is doing those LinkedIn workshops. So LinkedIn, of course, is one of the biggest places when it comes to business, professional work, job creation, job market, and all of that kind of stuff. And there are about 1 billion people on that platform at the moment. You know, I've been making use of that platform pretty much since I started working at Microsoft. Since I started working at Microsoft, I said, let me take it seriously. I've been posting all of my projects and stuff like that I was doing. And I've been getting a lot of opportunities and networks as a result of that. And that's something that I encourage people to do as well. When you know what it is that you're good at and you play to your strengths, put it online. Because let's be honest, we're no longer in the 1800s. Everybody's on the internet. You know, the world is so globalized and so interconnected that there are so many people watching your stuff, even if you don't know. I think sometimes we forget that you don't have to get 1 million views for the right person to watch your videos. You could be on 300 views and it's that one person that watches it that says, I need this person to help me in my life. And that's how it changes your life. Yeah. Like, I forgot who the person is. I'll find them and I'll even send you their profile. Like, there's a person, I think they're on TikTok or it might be Instagram. I forget which one, but they've only got like 6,000 followers. And the problem that they solve for those 6,000 followers is so niche that they pay her maybe like £5,000 each or $5,000 each, and she's making like thousands of dollars on a monthly recurring basis because of how niche the problem is that she's solving. She doesn't have that many views, she doesn't have that many followers, but she is solving a specific problem. I think that sometimes a lot of people think that they need to have absolutely massive reach and need to be famous before they become rich. But that's, you know, your wealth doesn't come from fame. It comes from solving problems effectively. You know, there are so many people who are running businesses that are making billions of dollars, but they are unsexy businesses and they are making so much money. I'm sure we don't know the company that provided these bricks. You know, whoever provided those plants, we don't know that company, but they are possibly making thousands, if not millions, if not billions of pounds because they are solving an issue. You know, so it's like, when you look at it, think of your gift as, this is my superpower that I can use to save this part of the world.
And in terms of like, I've loved everything you've said, and now I'm going to get like a little bit personal because, yeah, like I think about this podcast and, you know, hearing you say you need to post more online. That thing you said about the 300 is something that I think about all the time. Oh my God, this one only got 2 likes. Oh, that one only got 5 likes. And me, like, yeah, sometimes I'm not fixated on the numbers, but I almost feel like I'm bothering people, and I need to like change my mindset because I do feel like I am providing value with these conversations. But I suppose my question to you is, like, with all of the help and services you're providing with regards to LinkedIn, what are the key things that you typically speak about, or the key places where you see people fall down that we could potentially talk about for the listener?
Okay. First thing, I'll address what you were saying about bothering people. Bother them.
Yeah.
Bother them. I'll tell you. One person that I'm learning from so much right now is a guy called Myron Golden. And he always talks about the fact that there are a lot of people who would love to buy what you would love to sell if only you were more findable. You get me? Yeah. Like, you have to remember, there are 8 billion people on the planet. There is a market for what you want to give out. But for most people, they just can't be found because they are not making themselves visible enough. So keep doing it. You know, there's one of my older brother's friends. He's a dancer as well. And I remember back when I was in university, he used to tell me, like, a lot of people would say that he was doing too much when he was posting his dancing videos because he would post so much. But now he's over like 100k followers on Instagram. He's doing a world tour teaching dance classes and stuff like that. Now you won't say he's doing too much. Now you'll say he was doing the exact right thing.
You're crazy until you're like a visionary. Yeah. So I just need to bombard people,
bro,
find my market, because I heard you there. It's like, there are 8 billion people, because sometimes I look at my subscribers, I'm like, oh my God, I haven't even hit 1,000. Yeah. And it's like, I just need to do more to make myself more visible. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, like, and that's the thing. I'm not saying this as if I'm the one guy to listen to. I'm learning this from people who have already succeeded, made it. You know, there's a guy on TikTok called Higher Up Wellness, and he was talking about how he was working a cushy 6-figure job, all of this kind of stuff, and he started posting about all of his wellness stuff and things like that. And he said for maybe like 9 months, his subscribers and his views were plateauing like that. It was just flat. And then at one point, boom, it shot up. Because it was almost like a loading bar. It's like it's loading. And when it's done, that's when the rocket decides to shoot off. But you are not the one who decides when it shoots off. It's like that picture of the guy who gives up right before he gets to the diamonds. You know, if you don't know, so just keep going. You know, but yeah. So I guess there's that little bit. Just keep doing it. Just keep doing it because.
Okay, so there was that, and then what other bits of advice do you have for people who want to kind of level themselves up on LinkedIn?
Yeah. So when it comes to leveling yourself up on LinkedIn, it's interesting you say that. I'm actually, I'm gonna plug myself. I've actually just started doing a mini cast on LinkedIn called the Leveraging Your LinkedIn Minicast, where I speak to LinkedIn employees about how they pretty much got into LinkedIn and how they got into their roles and what you can do to effectively get into your preferred role and things like that. And I've just been talking to people on LinkedIn and posting content about how you can do that in the first place for a while anyways. But some of the things that you can do to level up your LinkedIn is build relationships. Building relationships is one of the single most important things you can do as a human being anyways. 100%. The more quality people you know, the more people you can help. Is what I think, at least. And this human experience is about connecting anyways. We wouldn't have been on this podcast together if we didn't connect. That's a relationship. You get what I'm trying to say? And even the way we connected was through a mutual relationship. You get what I'm trying to say? All of that is relationships. But how can you level up on LinkedIn? One thing that I learned that works very well, just like you're doing, is posting content that's authentic to you. What is it that you love to do? What is it that you're good at? What is it that you're doing well that you want to show people? It's not just, I'm excited to announce I've been promoted or something like that. Post the in-betweens of that. What was happening between your initial stage and your promotion that got you promoted? That shows your value to way more people than just the manager that promoted you. You get what I'm trying to say? So there's all of that. And one thing that I've also learned as well is when it comes to leveling up on LinkedIn, of course, I mentioned about playing to your strengths, but be targeted with where you're going. You want to be intentional about your reason for being on that platform. You need to have a goal at the end of the day anyways. My dad always used to say, if you're directionless, where are you going to go? Someone can just take you somewhere if you don't know where you're going. And I've heard it said many times, if you aim for nothing, you're not going to hear anything. You always miss. So what is it that you're on the platform for? Begin to hone your targets towards that. Maybe you've decided, cool, I have an eye for detail. I really like building stuff. I want to be an architect. So what are you going to do on the platform that's going to help you in that direction? One thing that you can do, boom, you can begin to build relationships with people who are in the architecture field. Maybe you've seen a construction company that you want to work for, maybe like Multiplex or something like that. I've seen they build a lot of buildings around in London and stuff like that. Maybe you want to get into a company like that. Begin to speak to the employees around that company on LinkedIn. Maybe there's a manager that you see. Maybe this person is a senior manager or something like that in that company. Is there something that you see in their posts that they are focusing on? Maybe they're focusing on certain bits of scaffolding or something like that. I'm not really an architect. But yeah, maybe they're focusing on certain areas of construction. Maybe you can go on the internet and find some insights about that and begin to provide that person that insight so that they can begin to see that you are valuable in that area. You get me? As you provide that, you begin to put yourself on notice that, hold on a second, this person is valued. Let me give them a bit more attention. Then you can begin to speak to them, because I've realized that this whole business thing, this whole professional development and all of this career stuff, it's an exchange of value. It's an exchange of value because on the basic level, someone is giving you a product that you find valuable, and therefore you are giving them their money that you find valuable or that they find valuable. It's an exchange of value. When you're working a job, you are giving someone your time and probably your energy and your muscles and your cognitive energy, which is valuable to the company, and they're giving you money and certain other benefits, which is valuable to you. It's an exchange of values. So if you can do that on a miniature scale with people before you are in the role, you can begin to prove to them that you are able to do that on a much more major scale as you get into that role. So I think that's one way you can level up, or at least show yourself to be a person that's more valuable. But yeah, I think it's just building relationships, posting that content, and showing people more that you are valuable. Yeah,
I love that. And just on that, like, we spoke obviously about LinkedIn there, but obviously you got TikTok, you got Instagram. Do you think there's power in focus? And what I mean by that is, should you pick a platform and stick to that platform? Or do you think you can diversify? Because I'm hearing all this on LinkedIn, but in my head I'm like, oh, I've also got an Instagram page. Oh my God, I've also got TikTok. What do I do? Do I let them go? Because it's all time, right? Yeah. So how is it that you make the most efficient use of your time, I suppose, is the question.
Great question. Yeah. I'll be real. I'm still learning to manage that myself.
And so am I.
This is the thing. I've heard the principle from Warren Buffett about mastery before diversification. And I'll admit, I'm following that in certain areas, but I'm not following that in other areas. And I want to follow them in all areas because, I mean, clearly it's worked for him. He's one of the greatest investors in our generation.
The greatest, yeah.
Exactly. So, clearly that's worked for him. And I mean, I see it in most other successful people's areas anyways. Someone like LeBron James, you know him for basketball. But as a result of him succeeding in basketball, he's also become an investor in this. He's building schools there. He's doing this, doing that. Stormzy's doing the same. Blew up in music. Now he's doing scholarships. Now he's doing books. Now he's built that. I think he bought like a community center in Croydon or something like that.
KFC and all that.
There you go, you see. So it's like because he mastered something, he was able to diversify into other areas. And I look at that and I say, cool. So clearly that's a formula that works. How can I implement that into my own life? I said, cool, for the vision that I have for my life when it comes to the whole public speaking, let me blow in that first, or at least succeed in that. Then I can diversify into the other things, because I'm sure the proceeds or, whatever I can succeed in from that can fund the other things. If not necessarily in money, at least in the value of relationships. Mm-hmm. Maybe I can build relationships with someone who can help me in that other area, or can do this and stuff like that, or wants to help me with this vision. But since I'm doing it in that, I thought to myself, I think I should be doing this in the content as well. Mm. But then at the same time, I thought to myself, yo, Lordwin, you've delayed so much with the content. You need to force it. But at the same time, it's like I'm back and forth on it, because when it comes to the content, I've been wanting to do YouTube for time. Like I remember I was.
What stopped you?
Procrastination, that's for sure. I remember, on Facebook, you have the Facebook memories. Yeah. I remember going on there maybe like a couple of months ago to check something out, and I seen the memories, and I seen it was just like a note from me. And I seen it was a long note, and I was motivating people and stuff like that. And at the end of the note, I said, yeah, I'm going to do more of this stuff and put it on YouTube. So stay tuned, guys, coming very soon. I looked at the date. It was 2014. I had my head in my hands. I said, Lordwin, the younger you would not be satisfied at all, because you've 10 years. You know what a YouTube channel can do in 10 years? I said, Lordwin, stuff has to change. So at least because of that, where I had that sort of disappointment in myself where I'd procrastinated for too long, I said, cool, with content, let me spread it to places I believe are going to have impact. Because YouTube has been pretty much the king of videos for, it's like a decade and a half at this point. So it's like, I doubt they're going away for in a while. Yeah, of course, TikTok is giving them a challenge, but YouTube is basically TV. It's basically TV.
Yeah, that's what I use it for.
Yeah, especially with the ads.
Yeah. Don't get me started on those ads. They're like a minute now. Oh my god.
Lidge. Yesterday I was watching TV. Like I don't even watch TV in my house anymore. Usually I'll just be watching on my laptop or on my phone. 90-second ad, unskippable. I said, nah. I turned it off.
Yeah. Oh, did you?
No. You're not getting my eyeballs. You're not getting my attention, man. Nah, man. But yeah, so looking at it like that and looking at my own situation, I said, cool, Lordwin, blast the content one, you know, because LinkedIn, I've already been doing that for about 2 years and been taking it seriously, like posting pretty much every day for about, 4 or 5 months. So I know I pretty much got that one down pat. So I said, cool, let me do some on TikTok. With LinkedIn, I'm purely on the how you can use your gifts and your talents and your skills to help your professional career. But with TikTok, I'm more so in the whole identity and gifts and your journey sorts of things. But what I think I'm going to do for YouTube, I'm just going to put everything on there because I've been reading a book by Daryl Eves called The YouTube Formula. And one of the first things he says there is post 100 videos on YouTube. They're going to be garbage, but post them anyways. I said, damn, Fizz.
That's the Mr. Beast approach.
There
because what you do is you post 100 videos, you try and improve one thing in every video, and by the time you've gotten to 100 videos, you already know. But I looked on my YouTube, I posted 400 videos. I don't know what I'm doing! 400 videos and clips, and I still don't know what's going on. So I don't know if 100's enough.
Hey, man.
And what was I going to say with that? So, like you mentioned the fact that you've posted consistently for 5 months. In terms of like, I know you have your like overarching theme of, finding your gift and purpose. How is it you decide? Like, do you record everything on a Sunday and then post it over 7 days? Do you literally just, okay, Monday, I'm going to bang it out? How is it you structure, your tasks?
I'll wing it, bro. I'll be so real. I have for specific, especially,
Go on, take time with it.
We fitty. But yeah, I was trying to say especially and specifically. Oh my days, especially for the content. For a while I've been winging it. Because I was just posting, what was coming to my mind in terms of the journey. Because I thought to myself, cool, if I want to post authentically, post what it is in the moment, almost like a be real, I do that on TikTok still, but the reason why I personally have no issue with that is because I've got a lot in my head that I need to put on content. Because bear in mind, like I was saying, 10 years of procrastinating on YouTube, I could have done 1,000 videos by then. You get what I'm trying to say? I've had so many. I've got notebooks on my iPhone filled with just YouTube ideas and content ideas and stuff like that. So it's like I have no problem with that. So I can wing it. Of course, it depends on the person, but at the same time, I know to myself, cool, Lordwin, whilst you're still at the more so beginning stages of this creation on the internet sort of journey, learn to organize yourself properly, because if the bigger this becomes, the more this will need to become managed by systems rather than just on the fly. And that's something that I'm learning. That's part of the journey as well, which goes into what I wanted to say. Like, just embrace the journey and learn on the way. But I have to really learn more about building systems, because if I'm going to build something that's going to last beyond me, there needs to be a system that runs itself without me being there. So that one in terms of the content, I want to make sure that I'm trying to get that one pattern. But yeah, I guess I'm learning on the way.
Lordwin, like, as we kind of like wrap up this section, like as you've spoken today, you had the jobs and everything has kind of fed into the public speaking, which has led to the workshops. And you've mentioned the fact that you're actually studying to be a teacher because there are skills that are going to help you with what it is you want to do next. Like, what is the ultimate goal for Lordwin? So you mentioned that you had 7 purposes. You don't need to, or 7 things. You don't need to talk about everything, but yeah, like, what is the ultimate goal for you if you had to put it down?
So it's to help people to understand more about their identity, their gifts, and their true human value. Because I look at it and I see the state of the world nowadays. Let's be honest, guys. It's not the most ideal world that we're living in. And I personally believe that so many of those issues are down to the fact that people don't know who they are. people don't have a true understanding of who they are. And who you are is one of the most important things that you have to understand as a human being ever. I know this sounds a bit morbid, but on your tombstone, on your gravestone, it tells people who you were, not what you did. It says loving father, lovely brother, loving mother, or sister, or grandmother, or something like that. It didn't say they were a project manager at this company and they worked for this time. At that point, that doesn't matter. It was, who was this person? Who was this person to us? You get what I'm trying to say? So it's one of those things where it's like, identity is so important. And for many people, they have unfortunately been lied to about their identity. And the crazy thing is, for a lot of people, when they discover that they've been lied to about their identity, then they begin to, strip that off and unlearn that, and begin to, almost like in a candy store, pick the kind of parts of identity that they like and attach it to themselves. And that might be something that is preferable to them, even if it's not true, because it's almost like that's the identity I ascribe to myself, rather than the identity that's actually my identity, because it's better than the identity that was put on me by the people who lied to me, who wanted to control me or whatever. But it's still not the true identity, because there are a lot of people who look at themselves in a certain way, and that's what they use to cope with the situations that they're in, but that still isn't the truth about who they are.
Okay, we have to dig deeper into that. So there's two things there, because bro, this is too deep. Okay, first thing, what do you mean when you say that people have been lied to about their identity?
Okay, so I guess it can come from one of two places, either ignorance or malice. People have told other people, maybe like, I guess we can go from a familial aspect, either parents have told their children they can't amount to something, or they can't do this, or they're this person, or they're that person, or they have to be this, and the children begin to believe it. I remember my dad was telling me one story about a guy whose father was forcing him to be a doctor. And once he'd finally become a doctor, he even won an award for doing something in the medical field. He won the award, and when he was giving his speech, he called his father to come over and gave him the plaque of the thing. He said, "This is yours. I never wanted it." And he said his father was crushed, because it's like, you wanted that for your son, but your son didn't want that for themselves. And I remember thinking about that. It's like, yeah, no, it's true. There are some people going through that, who are living a life because their parents are living that life through them vicariously, and I look at it like that. So that's something, that's a way in which it can manifest. But in other ways, it can be malicious, that people will tell you or indoctrinate you to believe that you are something for their own personal gain. Unfortunately, we had that sort of thing when it came to slave trade, in different parts of the world, and all of that kind of stuff, where people are told that they are something, even though that's not true, so that those people can mentally remain in the prison that keeps them controllable, and that sort of thing is very dangerous, of course. I see that stuff still happening nowadays, because there are mental prisons that people are in that they seem to not be able to be freed from, because they think that, I'm getting some benefits out of this. I'll be all right, And some of them, even if they know that something about the way I think, or something about this sort of life I'm living isn't right, the prison is just too comfortable, man.
And
it's just sad.
It's too real.
Yeah.
And then, like, the second thing I had, as you were speaking about all of that, like, okay, people are lied to about their identity. How is it one finds their true identity?
Well, let me say it like this. I've got an iPhone in here. The insignia of the iPhone, or the image that's on the iPhone, is Apple. So if I wanted to find out original or proper information about the iPhone, I have to go to Apple. Can't go to Samsung, can't go to Huawei, can't go to Lenovo. I mean, I could, but they're not going to give me the information that I need, because they are not the company that designed the phone. I mean, of course, Samsung may have made the screen and stuff like that, but you get what I'm trying to say. Apple made this iPhone, so they're the ones that I'll go to. And that's the same with human beings. And this is the thing. I'ma say this. Some people may not accept it. People may not believe it, but this is what I believe. You know, you were not created by your parents. You were created by God. And if God is the one that created you and he's the one that manufactured you, he's the one that has the answers for you, about you. You know, once again, I say it, we are the apex of creation. There's literally no living thing that's on this planet walking around that is as intelligent, as inquisitive, or as unique as us. All animals seem to have a survival instinct, live in the wild, are just eating to stay alive for a couple more days, weeks, months, or years. But it seems like human beings have the ability to almost do whatever they want. Something about that is interesting. So who are human beings and where did they come from? I personally believe God created us all. So that's where I'm going to get my identity from. But for a lot of people, because they don't believe in God, which is obviously their choice, I respect your choice. You can believe whatever you want to believe. Because they don't believe in God, they decide to take their identity from another place. You know, maybe they put their identity in their job. You see, that's something that a lot of people are in, where you ask them, who are you? And they say, I'm a doctor. No, you work as a doctor. You function as a doctor. They say, I'm a nurse, I'm a teacher, I'm a this and that. Pardon me. Like, that's not who you are, that is what you do. And if you look at the word or the term human being, it's human being, not human doing. Who you are is more important than what you do. Of course, what you do repeatedly can contribute to who you become, but who you are at the end of the day is the most important thing. And that's why I'm so focused on identity. You know, a lot of people take the pieces of identity just from things that they prefer, things that they're comfortable with, things that they are familiar with. You know, unfortunately, some people even take their identity from the traumatic things that they experienced. You know, they're a something survivor, or they're a this survivor, or something like that. Of course, I don't want to say certain words because it's a bit triggering for some people. I want to respect their states. But, you know, some people, they take their identity from that. And it's like, the reason I don't like that is because you have overcome that. You know, you are stronger than that. Like, if you are a person who survived something like some form of abuse, you have overcome that. If you continue to tie your identity to that, that may be bringing your mind always back to that. I believe that you should definitely tell your story and help people to be able to overcome that. But if you always label yourself as the person who survived that, then it's almost like you're always bringing yourself back to that moment. Of course, I can't speak for everybody, but I think that it's like people have a higher identity than the mistakes that they made or overcame, or the problems that they overcame. You get what I'm trying to say? So I look at it like that, like, cool. Every single person has a unique identity, but the true identity that they have, it's what has the capability of setting them free from so many of the issues that they are going through. You know, for me, myself, I am still growing in the discovery of my identity, because not every single problem in my life is solved. But as I discover more about who I am, I begin to solve those problems in my life. There are certain things that I went through when I was younger where I look at it like, man, why did I have to go through this? But nowadays, as I'm older, I look at it like, cool, there's a lesson in this. And I believe that as I grow and as I'm intentionally going into what happened there, I begin to learn about it and I begin to understand that, cool, the results of this situation are not a determining factor as to who I am. You know, they are simply a contributor to the person that I am able to become as a result of overcoming those things.
I love it.
You know, so this is something that for everybody who's watching, for yourselves as well, you have to consider. Do you want your identity to always be linked to the pain that you experienced and the trauma that you overcame or may even still be going through? Or do you want your identity to be attached and integrated with something that is higher than all of those things? Because you have the capability of doing that. You have the capability of accepting that sort of identity. But that's a choice that you have to make. And this is why I respect everybody's choice. You know, you can choose whatever life you want to live. But remember, with every choice comes a consequence. The consequence may be beneficial for you. The consequence may not be beneficial for you. That just depends on what it is that you want to do. But I guess that's a couple of my thoughts when it comes to that.
Lordwin, this is what a conversation this has been. As we wrap up, I'm just trying to digest it. Like, where do you see yourself in the next 5 and 10 years?
Well, in the next, let's say 10 years. 10 years will be 2034. By that time, hopefully I've got a wife and kids, nice, beautiful wife, amazing kids and stuff like that. But, besides that, I see myself continuing to go around the world to help people be inspired and motivated to search within themselves and look for more. Because I believe we are coming to a time where there's going to be so many crises, that's the one. I'm a teacher, but I'm still learning. But yeah, there's going to be so many of those issues that are going to be in the world that are going to be global, that people are going to be desperately looking for a solution. Solutions may come, deceptions may come, but there are going to have to be people who stand up and help people to see that, listen, this is the way to go. This is who you are, and so this is what you can do. I want to be one of those people that stands up and gives people that hope, whether it's through the things I speak, the things I say, the things I create, the things I build, the people that I inspire, whatever way it is. Through those 7 goals that I have, I'm going to do it. Whether I'm creating bits of media or creating businesses that are going to help people, I want to solve that problem, because I know that issue that I had in me, that I'm at a stage where I've solved a lot of it, but I'm still overcoming a lot of it. I want to help people who are in beginning stages, who are just discovering that they need to solve this issue, because I know that there will be many more people that are going to have to go through that issue and they will have that solved. And I believe that as I help them solve it, they will be able to grow into people that can help other people solve other people's problems as well.
I love it.
So yeah.
And then a final question, like, just to the listener who's gotten to this point in the conversation, what's the one action and immediate next step or piece of advice that you can give them?
Take some time off, sit with yourself and ask yourself the question, who am I? You have to start there. And you can't do it with all the noise in the background. Sometimes shut off your friends, even shut off your family for a couple of hours. Take off the headphones, no music. Allow yourself to sit with your thoughts, because there's so many of them in your head. You don't need more voices. Turn off TikTok, turn off LinkedIn, turn off Snap, turn off all of them stuff. Sit with you. Because at the end of the day, the only person that's with you 24/7 is you, man. You get me? So you have to build a relationship with the person in the mirror. So sit there and ask yourself, who am I? And if you are not satisfied with the answers and you need some more help, let me know. Maybe
there it is.
Maybe I can provide some sort of inspiration at a later date.
Yeah, and use code BIO10 for 10% off, so I get some royalties. You get No, I'm joking. Lord, this has been such a sick conversation. We do have a quick fire round.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Are you
no
ready
problem.
For this, yeah.
Raw, swear. Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't even know we had that.
Impromptu speech to 1,000 people or prepared speech to 10 VIPs.
10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Silent audience or overly enthusiastic one that keeps interrupting?
Overly enthusiastic. Oh man, I do that in school, you know.
Is it?
Yeah, I can feed off the energy, man.
Okay,
I like it.
Teach 30 well-behaved kids or 15 challenging students?
I already do like 20 challenging students, you know. So I'm gonna take the well-behaved kids.
Money or happiness?
Sorry?
Money or happiness?
Money or happiness? I'll take happiness.
Okay. Remember everybody's name or never forget subject facts?
Wait. Remember everyone's name?
Yeah.
Yeah, remember everyone's name.
Okay.
Yeah.
Classroom with no tech or every student with a device?
Nah, no tech.
No tech.
Bro, I teach computing, bro. That tech is distracting.
Extra planning time or smaller classes?
Extra planning time.
Who has it easier, men or women?
Oh, neither, bro. Okay. Life is hard, man. Life is hard, bro.
And then my final question: who, if you had to choose, who would your dream dinner guest be?
My dream dinner guest. Oh, Miles Monroe.
Hey, okay.
Yeah. Before I started to change my life, he was the one that was teaching me stuff. But he died in 2014. I changed my life in 2018. So I already missed him by 4 years. I couldn't see him.
You came to my church once.
Really?
Yeah. Marsden Road, Dominion Centre in Wood Green. Well, my old church. I don't go there anymore.
Look at this. I even missed it. He's a very inspiring guy. I'd love to have met him.
Okay, I love that. Lordwin, this has been a great conversation, man. An amazing conversation, an inspiring conversation. We do have a closing tradition on this podcast. With everything that you know and with everything that you've been through, what advice would you give your younger self? And would you still be doing the same thing?
What advice would I give my younger self? I'm looking at you, 8-year-old Lordwin. Start now. Just move, because I was taking a lot of steps when I was young, but I was also doing the whole analysis paralysis thing, overthinking too much and never taking a step. I would have told myself, Lord, just move. Take the risk, take the step. Because I'm taking a lot of risks now, and I have been in like the past couple of years. But if I'd been doing that from like 15 years ago plus, I would have got a few more things figured out by now. And what was your other question?
And would you still be doing the same thing?
Would I still be doing the same thing as I'm doing right now? Yes, because I believe I was born for this. So I will eventually end up in this regardless.
I love it. Where can people find you, bro?
Well, you can find me on LinkedIn. My name is Lordwin, so hopefully I'm not too hard to find. That's Lordwin. Link is in description below. So come on. But find me on LinkedIn. Find me on TikTok at King Lordwin. That's mostly what I use. I mean, you can find me on Instagram, but I don't really post on there anyways.
I love it.
But you will see me in many different places soon enough in a couple of years' time. So keep it out.
And we're going to post the questionnaire, the Find Your Gifts questionnaire, 20 questions. Is that what it's called? Find Your Gift questionnaire?
The Gift Discovery questionnaire. Definitely, you can give that to them. Yeah. And I will just give you, I'm not even going to give you a sneak peek. I'll let you know. Something else is coming out that will help you even more when it comes to your gift. It's in the works, but when it's time, we will come back to this video and we'll launch it properly.
Come on. I love it. And to the listener, if you got into this point in the podcast, you know what to do, guys. Like, share, comment. And if you haven't done so already, please make sure you subscribe. Click that subscribe button. But, this has been another episode of What My Best Friend Does. If you didn't know, now you know. Now go outside and take some immediate action. Over and out.